Got a great show for you guys today. Nick Saban regrets coming to Alabama. Said that in an interview. We're going to talk about him. Great players in the state following what we saw Ryan Williams do at Saraland, reclassifying. E.G. Crowell is doing the same thing in Jackson, and now he's going to be available for this year's recruiting class. We'll talk about reclassifying in the Senior Bowl coming up, and both of us will be there for that. So we'll talk a little Senior Bowl as well. Let's get this show started. The only way we know how to do it by playing Jake's Open. All right, there he is, the national championship quarterback. I actually saw a montage of your highlights the other day. Somebody sent me, and I was like, "This is nice. This is nice watching you throw those TDs."
Hey, they could have put a highlight. Hey, they could have put a highlight tape together of me yesterday slinging snowballs, son.
Oh yeah, I'd want to be on your team for a snowball fight. How about snowpocalypse, man? I got over in Fairhope. We got about 11 inches. I classify this as a blizzard.
Yeah. I mean this is probably up there with some of the snows you saw in Baltimore.
It was. I haven't lived there in forever, since I went to Alabama. But when people talk snow down here, I'm always like, "Come on, man! You don't know jack squat about snow." And then like, "Hey, you better get home. You better get home." I was up in Tennessee. You better get home. It's snowpocalypse is coming. Is there anything you need from the store? And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. We're gonna be all right." And then it started snowing yesterday morning, and it just kept snowing and snowing and snowing. I'm like, I think this stuff's sticking. And then I drove to the post office, 4-wheel drive on the 4Runner. Never get to use it. So I rolled up there, got my mail, check from the next round. Thanks, guys. Disrupt. Shout out to you. And then came back, and before I even turned around, the truck was covered in snow again. So I'm like, man, this stuff's coming down. So it was so deep. I normally wear socks and flip-flops coming from the house to the studio. I had to go back in and put my lawnmower shoes on yesterday. And it literally was up to up to my kneecaps spots.
I mean, I felt like I was in Colorado or Wyoming or something like that. I mean, it started at 8:30 yesterday, and it didn't stop until the sun went down.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. You couldn't have told me that this would happen and me believe it.
Man, I don't care, and I don't care how old people were around here. Everybody was excited. I mean, I saw grown men pulling.
I think we got disconnected there for a second, but we're back. Did you so you guys? What did you get over in Mobile snow wise?
We got every bit of 8 inches. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, again, there were guys. I don't know if you heard me say this, but I mean, it's just like redneck paradise. People just on 4-wheelers pulling grown men.
Oh yeah,
beer in hand, just like it was great.
I saw a video of somebody pulling Roll Tide Willie on the back, and I just thought, this guy. They're going to kill Roll Tide Willie. Anything for a video, right? You know what I mean? He's become one of those guys, the jackass guys. He'll do anything for clicks. I'm watching him. He's holding on to this rope, and he's getting covered in snow. And I'm like, if they keep going, they're going to kill this old man.
Hey, Mick, I don't know if you've seen some of his interviews, but I don't think it would have mattered if there was a camera there or not. Roll Tide Willie was going to get after it.
No, I think he's just the price of fame. It's like he's got to do the next great thing. So we got a lot of snow here, and it's back when, I know you're an old guy. Back in 1895 is the last time that there was a snow this much.
It wasn't. It wasn't this much. It was
6 inches. 1895.
Yeah, this is more. I believe this is the most in recorded history.
I told my son this was the most snow since the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I told Palmer it was an ice age.
Yeah. He said he's like his response is always, "Mom, is Dad telling the truth?" Well, in the history of the world, or at least the last 200 years since we've been recording it, it's the most snow. It was the perfect storm for it, though, man. Like just the circumstances had to be perfect.
Oh yeah,
just to happen, and it might, but it could be another 200 years before it happens again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine unless things really go south climate wise, we'll never see that again.
Yeah, well, and I know for a guy like you that you're probably just disappointed you didn't get snowed in at the hunting camp, so you could be out there killing deer.
It's crossed my mind.
I know.
But I mean, it was so much fun yesterday. I had the golf cart out. We're riding around, spinning out.
Yeah,
having a great time. So
you made the best of it. It's not.
yeah.
It's not ideal, but it's good enough.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right.
Well, let me tell you about the Nick Saban's on a podcast, and they ask him like what the biggest regret he has, and he basically says he's talking to Jimmy Sexton on a porch before he was leaving LSU or Miami. He's trying to figure it out, and Jimmy Sexton said, "Do you want to be Bear Bryant or do you want to be Vince Lombardi?" And he said Bear Bryant, but he took the Miami job.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, man, when he first got to Alabama, you could tell that he had the LSU blues, man. I'm just telling you that because I worked there at the time. I remember thinking this guy's heartbroken, but those idiots down there were so mean to him that they snapped him out of it. He didn't want to. He would have gone back to LSU had they, had that job been open.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw that. I saw that clip. I haven't seen the podcast, but I'm very, very thankful for that regret.
Yeah.
I'm glad he made glad he made that mistake.
Yeah.
But then again, he says that. I mean, he says that knowing the result of what happened in Miami. Had he not gone to Miami, he's and stayed at LSU for his entire career, he probably says my biggest regret's not seeing what I could do in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, if he would have been somewhere where they would have gotten him Drew Brees instead of Dante Culpepper, he might have won a Super Bowl there. You watch him coaching, kind of the takeaway that I have, or a couple takeaways I had from the college football playoff. First is I told you guys from the beginning that Ohio State was going to win. I've said it since the season started. They spent more money than anybody else on the roster, and they got the right players. Judkins and Downs and the rest of those players they bought, the best players off all those teams, kept their guys. They outspent everyone, and that team looked like a team that when they got into the postseason, they were like, okay, it's time for us to play. Yeah. And my point is that money talks and bullcrap walks. It's the bottom line. And if Alabama wants to be a champion right now, they're going to have to spend. That's the first thing. Second thing that I learned from this, from this whole playoff experience is, well, obviously they're going to have to redo the way that they seed these tournament teams, because the whole seeding, it was ridiculous. I mean, the fact that Oregon had to play Ohio State in their first playoff game, and Penn State's playing like SMU and Boise State. I mean, come the hell on.
Yeah. Well, a few points there. I mean, watching that national championship game, I mean, you watch Notre Dame in multiple situations, perfect. That they're giving Ohio State not the perfect look. I mean, it's the perfect look for Notre Dame, and Ohio State runs into the teeth of the defense. I mean, still outnumbered, outmanned. They're still gaining yards. I mean, Notre Dame would have had to have had a total and complete miracle to win that game. Just totally outmatched talent-wise. It was not even close. I mean, across the board. I mean, Ryan Day would have had to have coached the worst game possible to lose that game. It's just had all the fastest horses,
Yeah.
Now I guess, look, I haven't been following the whole the NIL stuff, and I get caught up on that, soon. But from what I'm understanding now, they're saying that due to Title IX, the school can only pay each athlete equally across the board.
Well, they're trying that right now, but that's not going to fly. I mean, it just isn't going to fly. Like they can't pay the women's athletes for people not showing up. The NILs for people that if you got Caitlin Clark and she's bringing in the cash, that's one thing. But handing money out isn't what this is about. It's about paying the players that are earning the money.
No, you're right. But what I'm saying is if it comes directly from the school, it's just not manageable.
Well, they're going to have to make that. That's what the Department of Education can try to throw all that BS out there. But you know what? This isn't about all the Title IX crap. This is about paying people that are earning money because of their name, image, and likeness, not giving somebody a handout, Jake.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's not – I'm not making
it pisses me off that I heard them say that, and I'm going, no. And you can't let them do that again. They've hampered we set with this system that obviously doesn't work for years. And it's just and now that the players that are bringing people to the games are wanting to be compensated for it. The players that aren't bringing people to the games don't deserve to be compensated. This isn't a participation trophy world. And if you get Caitlin Clark, hey, she deserves every dollar that you give her, because guess what she did? She brought people and interest into everything that she did. It's not about women's basketball or softball or these other sports. It's about the interest that they're gaining by the people that are watching. And she was a transcending figure. You know, I watched damn games. You watched the damn games. How many times are we watching women's basketball? But when's the last time you sat down and watched Christy Curry in Alabama women's basketball? When have you turned them on even for 2 minutes? And they're having like a good season this year, and then they lost by 40-something to Texas. You know, yay! And then you get beat by 40-something. Come on, man. Tell me.
I'm trying to avoid interrupting the rant.
I know, but man. I'm sick. You know that. I'm sick. I got my bourbon and I got my hot toddy. You should start hitting. I'm so fed up with that, though, because we got to get the system working, and the whole participation trophy stuff. It's got to end. The guys that are coming in there and earning the money need to be paid it.
I don't understand how that even works. Now, I don't even understand how that works now that, you know, now that NIL exists. I mean, I thought that kind of, to a certain degree, eliminated Title IX, you know, because, you know, obviously people aren't paying NIL money. They're not contributing NIL money to the collectives to pay for sports that gain no notoriety.
Right.
I mean, hey, the women's softball team, those girls are probably going to make some money. People love women's softball. I mean, you know, I don't think I'd be, you know, if men played fast pitch softball, I don't know if I'd be as into it as I am watching the women, because they've been playing for so long. They're established and it's entertaining.
Well, unlike women's basketball, they win championships. You know, like we'll be told that, you know, they get on to me, not many, but a couple people get on to me in the comments, like, what do you think now about women's basketball? Like, they lost by 45 to a team. Like I'm glad that they're like, you know, they're in the top 25, but they're not. You have to compete for championships at Alabama. Okay, it's just the way it is. Like, that's just, if you want to be a top 25 person, be proud of that, you need to go to Auburn. Okay, at Alabama, Jake, and you know this, you've been an Alabama fan your whole life. I went through the education when I went to the university. It's a championship school. So if you come in sixth, we don't throw parades for you here. Did I lose you?
You broke up a little bit, but I can still pick up on the gestures and the head movement.
You know, I said, if you come in sixth, we don't throw a parade for you here. You know, Bama football ended up 17th this year. That's still higher than the women's basketball ranking, and we're pissed. Like, this is not our standard. And I like Coach DeBoer and all them. Like, I do. You know that. I see him at the Senior Bowl. It is not our standard to come in 17th.
I've told you multiple times, sitting on that sideline of the national championship game, man, if you don't figure it out, you're going to be the only quarterback to ever lose a national championship for Coach Saban. And that's going to be your legacy. That's it. You know? Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's fair when you're contributing to a program that is on the elite level that Alabama is. I mean, people want championships. They're talking about firing Ryan Day after he loses to Michigan. You know, I mean, you want that standard. So,
Well, it's championship or bust, you know.
Yeah.
So you got a job for 10 or 15 years and you haven't won any jewelry, you know, then there's a standard. And I know with, you know, and the only reason that we're even paying attention to some of these sports is because there's a distribution of wealth that has never been fair for the athlete. Now we're trying to figure out why, you know, how did Ohio State spend $30 million, right? 30. When you make $1 billion, 30 is a drop in the bucket. Okay. It's a drop in the bucket. You're not making $30 million on women's basketball or on any of the other sports. You might make a little money on men's basketball. The rest of them don't. They come far from breaking even. Football's where all the money is. In the NFL, with the same model, you get the same amount of fans. You don't have the same TV contract, but you got a damn good one. To spend $30 million on the athletes that are bringing that in is nothing. And that's in economics. I went to Alabama and did economics. You got to understand the model. $1 billion and 30 million is right here. So Alabama, you better figure out how you're going to find that 30 million and pay those guys, because as I'm watching Ohio State run around holding the number one finger in the air, they took our best player and doing it. They bought him. We need to be doing that. Or until the systems change, guess what? We're going to be 17th.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the P&L looks like for Alabama football. I mean, I don't know how much is brought in, what it's spent on. I mean, but I will say this. I know that, I mean, they talk about the demographic of wealth in Ohio, and it's a lot higher than Alabama, you know. It's going to be tough to compete with the Ohio States and Texases, and we've talked about that multiple times. I mean, it's you're going to be hard pressed to find those funds in Alabama to compete with those guys. And when if we do get to 30 million, Texas and Ohio State find a way to get to 60. I mean, hey man, you're going to have to find some players. You're really going to have to do a good job recruiting, and not only try to win some of those competitions for recruits with Ohio State and Texas, but you're going to have to find some diamonds in the rough, some Josh Jacobs, some different guys with a lot of character that want to play at Alabama.
So basically what you're telling me is get ready for 17th every year.
I'm not saying that, but I've said this from day one when NIL came to be. You're not going to have the Coach Saban era ever again. I just don't believe it's possible. And I mean, unless you've got the monopoly, unless you're Ohio State and you can pay those guys that kind of money.
But what I'm telling you is that the money's there. They just got to figure out how to redistribute it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully
it's $1 billion business.
I mean, I hear you. I don't know what the overhead looks like. I mean, I'd have to go through that and see how it all works, what the overhead is. I mean, what do you absolutely have to have? I mean, you know, the amount of people around Alabama. I mean, there's more support staff around Alabama than anywhere else in the country. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the amount of expenses. And again, I mean, I get it. 30 million to $1 billion. I don't know if that's the revenue or not. I didn't think it was that high, but
here, I'll tell you what it is right now. It's just under $1 billion. Let me see. Maybe pull my little stat up here. Because Ohio State, 978 million. So that is just under $1 billion. Only 4 schools make more money with their athletic department than us. Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Michigan. So, and all of those schools are known for paying, and, you know, we're going to have to be known for paying, you know, so I don't know how they get that money from that to that. That's them to figure out. But if they don't, I'm telling you guys right now, get used to being around 17.
But if these aren't private collectives paying out in the school, say the school,
there's no rules though, man. I mean, you know that
the same across the board.
They don't have rules. Like every time they try to put a rule up, they get sued. That's what I'm saying.
I would imagine this would be the same case.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that until they make rules, and I hope they do, that the way that you put championships together, is you go, and then you're like, well, who's so-and-so getting the transfer portal? And who knows who? Look, don't think that they didn't get the word out, the Judkins and Downs and those people that, hey, if you get in the transfer portal, there's a lot of money waiting on you. I mean, come on, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
there's
come
no doubt
on.
about it. All those guys are doing that.
How about the coaches that came up to try to buy our players away on our roster this year? Lane Kiffin, his name was in there. Brian Kelly's name was in there. Who knows if they were or weren't? But the bottom line is that here's the head coaches apparently, allegedly coming to town to try to buy your roster, and that's the way that this thing goes now.
I don't know this for a fact, but I mean, our guys are doing it too. I mean,
well, that's my point, man. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Just have big pockets is what I'm saying. Well, I mean, I don't know. I learned that from this championship.
I can't imagine.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine Ole Miss has. I can't imagine Ole Miss has any more resources than we do. I mean, I would imagine they're hungrier, far less.
They're hungrier because they hadn't won in a while. But the other thing I was going to say about the college football playoff that I learned is that Coach Saban's a pretty good ball coach when it comes to just picking plays. Sarkisian could have tied that game up against Ohio State and ran some of the dumbest plays you'll ever see at the end of the game. Like he outthought himself. Oh, Coach Saban would have been like, everybody get to the line of scrimmage. We're going to run the damn thing in.
Yeah, that's what we did in the national championship. I mean, ran it once, gave it to Derek once, QB sneak, second time. Of course, I slip. And then the third time, Derek runs it in, and we got Jaron Reed, Nashawn Robinson in there right behind me. I mean, it was the heavy package. And I don't know, to me, you're on the 1 yard line, man. You find out if you deserve it or not,
Yep.
I mean, I'm running that thing. I'm trying to be physical and just get a yard. If you can't get a yard on 4 plays, then you don't deserve it.
No, I'm with you, man.
I hate when the running back gets the ball at the 10-yard line. But if it works, great. But I don't know. To me, it's just you find out if you deserve it or not.
Guys, I want to remind you that our show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit. Right now, you got the NFL playoffs, the big game coming up. And where is it? Where's the big game this year?
New Orleans.
It's in New Orleans. Okay. You got that. You got a bunch of other stuff going on. Not college football, but basketball and a bunch of other really cool stuff. Mybookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND, just like on my football shirt right here on my helmet. Love this shirt. Sweet. All right. So Senior Bowl starts next week. And got a press pass. So you're going to see me at the Senior Bowl for the first time. And I know you're kind of like Senior Bowl royalty. So I want to know what to expect. I mean, I know you're down there and everybody knows you. You played in the game and you're from Mobile. Have you ever led the Senior Bowl parade?
No, I have not.
Well, that's on them.
I love going to the practices during the week. It's fun. Ton of coaches I've seen or haven't seen in a while are there, and former teammates that are coaching now. Last year, saw Charles Kelly, Clint Trickett, Kirby was there. It was great. And obviously Coach DeBoer was down there. So
yeah,
that was actually the week they landed Ryan Williams. I think was Senior Bowl week.
Well, we'll be there. Maybe we can get some interviews or something.
We can figure something out.
It'd be fun, wouldn't it? I'm pretty stoked. I mean, hopefully I won't have the flu by then. Nothing like being in bed all the time. What's that?
You have a little snowball fight yesterday?
I haven't been out in the snow because I'm sick. I mean, I just went out here last night to do a couple shows, and when the Tylenol wears off, I'm right back in bed. You got any suggestions on things to watch?
Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking a hottie toddy and taking Tylenol at the same time.
Oh, I'm rolling the dice.
No,
I got the flu stuff. But what do you watch on Netflix? Like, what's your Netflix show?
Nah, man. Right now I'm on Paramount Plus. I'm watching I'm watching Landman. I just started. I'm on the Taylor Sheridan collection. So
are you?
yeah. I finished Landman. I'm watching. I watch Bass Reeves, and then I'm on Lioness right now.
Everybody's talking about this Land, man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I started watching the Vince McMahon show again. Like I never finished it on Netflix.
Yeah, there's Landman is great, but there's some parts in there that even make me cringe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's got to be something bad then. Keep that in mind when I'm not watching it. Nah, I may watch it. I may put it up there. Well, that then the last thing was EJ Crowell, the star from Jackson, running back. Guys put up huge numbers.
Hey, we didn't talk about the basketball.
Well, let's talk about both of those. This guy reclassified. He was the number 1 back in the 27 class, reclassified to 26. You're seeing guys do this now, man. Like, hey, you know what? I want to get to college fast enough, and it's because of the money. I mean, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah.
If you could do it.
Yeah, why not? If you got guaranteed money right now, jump on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
really good numbers.
And I guess it depends. It depends on how much you've developed. I mean, gosh, the difference in me, my sophomore year and my senior year in high school was just ridiculous. You know, I mean, I developed late, so I don't know. I guess it all depends on that. If you could come in at 17 and be an All-American like Ryan Williams, why not?
Yeah, right. Didn't slow him down at all. Basketball whooped up on Vanderbilt. So after that debacle against Ole Miss, they've come back and back-to-back games where they have balled, man.
That's what I said, man. I bet you that Ole Miss, you know, I'd feel better about Kentucky coming off a loss to Ole Miss than I would have if we'd have beaten the heck out of Ole Miss. I think that's a get-right game. You know, you play terrible like that. You understand you can lose if you don't show up to anybody. I mean, Ole Miss is good. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, we should have beaten Ole Miss.
Right.
You know, this team's fun to watch. I mean, I didn't get to catch that whole Ole Miss game. I was at a Senior Bowl function, but watching Kentucky, watching the Vandy game. I mean, you got Grant Nelson and Diabate. I love Diabate.
Yeah, big guy down low.
He is a motor, man. He's like him and Grant Nelson get after it down there.
Yeah, Amari.
You gotta love watching big men get on the floor and just get nasty. You know,
team's got everything they need, man.
Well, you know, the thing is you know, when you watch basketball, I mean, you can shoot the ball well, you can do a lot of skillful things the right way, but Nate Oates has them playing. You know, he talks about the blue collar basketball. I mean, that guy, he's got them hustling, just getting after it, winning the 50-50 balls. It's so much fun to watch when you do all the little things right. And then on top of that, we have a really talented team.
A fun team to watch.
Oh, yeah. And
all right, guys.
It's going to be fun watching. I really can't wait for that. The Iron Bowl on the court.
Yeah, we're going to see it twice.
It's going to be so much fun.
Two really good teams. Two of the best teams. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Cover Crimson YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys. Mybookie.ag. Use that promo code next round. They keep us on the air, but it's also a lot of fun. And with everything going on, mybookie.ag, have a little bit of fun over there. And covercrimson.com with Clint Lamb and the crew. Check it out there. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Roll Tide.